What is up, my friends? It is Thursday evening's Anfield Agenda transfer news roundup, and you are all very welcome along. So, Newcastle fans, how did that one go for you? The Ekitike move, did it go well? You know, the way you were telling us all yesterday, they were both going to be lining up at St James's Park. Isak and Ekitike. Didn't last too long, that dream, did it? We did try to warn that if Liverpool didn't get Isak, of course we knew Liverpool were going to turn their attention to Isak. Some Newcastle fans thought it was a bluff. Well, the deal's moving closer now, and Newcastle, well, they're looking towards visa from Brentford. So, ladies and gentlemen, over the course of this video, I'm going to do my best to fill you in on how we're moving along, how we may revisit Newcastle yet again, just to remind them who the bigger fish in the pond is, and lots more on Luis Diaz, Hugo Ekitike, a little bit on Darwin Nunez, and of course, as many updates as we can possibly squeeze into this 8 to 10 minute video. Right. I hope Newcastle fans understand that deep down, I do really respect and like them, but I can't help myself. I'm a shithouse and the banter needs to be there. So, let's get going with the news. We're going to start off with Bild and Luis Diaz. They say that Bayern Munich manager Vincent Kompany held a video call with Luis Diaz, and Barcelona have been worried by this, according to this report. Now, what I find really funny here is, we're supposed to believe that Liverpool don't want to sell Diaz, right? That's what we're supposed to believe. But yeah, we've no problem with him jumping on video calls, talking to Barcelona and talking with any club who's interested. We'd only allow that if we were really considering selling him. So I think we will see Luis Diaz moved on. And what happens after that? Well, more on that in a moment. So John Duran, the guy who used to play for Aston Villa, now obviously gone to join up with Mourinho. Apparently, they've already fallen out of Fenerbahce, according to a report. This piece here said former Aston Villa striker John Duran has fallen out with Jose Mourinho already, just weeks after signing for Fenerbahce on loan, by failing to turn up for the start of pre-season. Ooh, not great. Right, let's move on to the good news though. Hugo Ekitike. I've always said I don't know how good Hugo Ekitike is or isn't, but I may start referring to him as Ekitisak. Just because, you know, like I mentioned a moment ago, I love the wind-up. But this piece here from Romano said, breaking, Liverpool advancing in talks to sign Hugo Ekitike. Liverpool are working with Eintracht Frankfurt and Hugo's camp discussing final terms in order to reach an agreement. The deal will be closed only if Newcastle definitely close the door for Isak, with their usual stance remaining of not for sale. Ian Doyle of the paper, whom we shall not be calling out by name, has said Liverpool have opened talks to sign Hugo Ekitike. Discussions have taken place between Liverpool and Frankfurt during the last 48 hours, with the expectation a bid will now follow. And indeed, that bid did follow. Liverpool, Eintracht Frankfurt, feeling is that Hugo Ekitike wants Liverpool. Hate to say I told you so, Newcastle fans, but told you so. As soon as we make a declaration for a striker, they would, of course, be interested in joining, because, without trying to sound arrogant, we're in a pretty good place as a football club right now. And yes, Newcastle's a great and storied club with a great fan base. But once Ekitike seen Liverpool's advances, it was always clear that he was going to choose to come to the Reds. Breaking, Liverpool are poised to make a bid for Hugo Ekitike, said Andy Hunter of The Guardian, with Frankfurt striker understood to favour a move to the Premier League champions over Newcastle. Newcastle have now already left the talks for Hugo Ekitike, writes Fabrizio Romano. Deal considered off at this stage. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, they're now turning their attention to the likes of Benjamin Šeško, who, by the way, Newcastle fans, all banter aside, would be a pretty good signing. I like Šeško, so if Newcastle can get him, I think they're bringing in a very good player. Right, this from Fabrice Hawkins said, breaking, Hugo Ekitike and Liverpool reached an agreement over a 6-year contract. The player only wants Liverpool. In the last 24 hours, he's rejected Manchester United, and Newcastle have already left the talks. David Ornstein writes, Newcastle United are exploring a deal to sign Brentford striker Johan Wissa after cooling their interest in Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike. Yeah, cooling their interest or having to leave because Liverpool enter the conversation. Let's be honest about it, it's the latter. Right, Fabrizio Romano saying, breaking, Liverpool have now submitted an official bid to Eintracht Frankfurt for Hugo Ekitike. Eintracht Frankfurt already informed Liverpool that they want more money. Proposal rejected, but it was initial contact as talks continue. Now we get to a post from David Ornstein, who said, breaking, lots of breaking here as you can see, Liverpool are advancing in talks with Eintracht Frankfurt over Ekitike. The club's proposed package to sign the striker is in excess of €80 million, which is just a tad bit less than £70 million, and personal terms are not expected to be an issue. Going to keep moving fast here, folks, because there is a lot to get through. Right, Anfield sector now posting a Chris Bascom story that Liverpool are closing in on a deal to sign Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike. A bid is in the process of being formalised, with talks advancing for the 23-year-old who is now expected to join the Premier League champions. Right. Now, Anfield Agenda. Our X account is posting saying Romano has said the deal for Hugo Ekitike could be done at any moment because we now know Liverpool are loving to move fast in the market and they are accelerating the deal. So like we've mentioned, it was always going to be a case of, yes, Isak's the number one target, but if Newcastle, which they're perfectly within their rights to do, as I've tried to say all the way through this, refuse to sell him, then Liverpool will move on to their next target. And unfortunately for Newcastle, that was Hugo Ekitike. And look, I've always tried to say, I understand the frustration here from Newcastle fans, but I'm a Liverpool fan. I want Liverpool's best interest served. And our best interest was trying to get Isak. If we can't, well, Ekitik's going to be the next best one. Liverpool will retain an interest in Anthony Gordon if Luis Diaz were to leave, reports Alex Crook. And that's what I mentioned a moment ago, where we may not be finished with Newcastle just yet because we may try to have a conversation around Gordon. And look, for what it's worth, I would believe, and again, Newcastle fans, don't shoot the messenger, but I would believe Anthony Gordon would be receptive to the idea of a move to Liverpool. We know it was close last summer. We also know that Newcastle were relying a little bit more on Harvey Barnes at the end of the season, who's had a very good end to the campaign for Eddie Howe's men. And lots of Liverpool fans are unhappy with the idea of us going back in for Anthony Gordon, but he is homegrown, like I've said. There is an admiration from both sides of this one. And I don't know if a deal gets done or not. Again, the ball will be in Newcastle's court on this one. But if they want to free up some money, again, to go back into the market, maybe selling Liverpool Gordon could be a deal that they could live with. Maybe Newcastle fans could let us know in the comments. Right. This from Alex Crook again about Ibrahim Konate. So Konate has been stalling on signing an extension at Liverpool because he is unhappy with the salary on offer. Not really breaking news there. We knew that the initial offer from Liverpool to Konate deemed that the guaranteed amount in his wages was too low. The club are known to drive a hard bargain, said Alex Crook, so it's likely Konate will have to lower his demands if he is to extend. And I hope he does. We've said this all the way through. Liverpool's plan was to sell Kwanzaa and bring in another young defender. And the Konate situation's obviously thrown that up in the air somewhat. So if Liverpool can get Konate to extend and Liverpool can go and get that Jorel Haddo or that youngster from Parma, happy days. So keep an eye on this situation. Jayden Danns, according to Jack Lusby, is set to travel with the Red Squad for the pre-season tour of Asia, which again is brilliant news. You can find all of this stuff, by the way, the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp, and if you would like to join us, just scan that QR code there on the screen and it will bring you right over. It's completely free to sign up and we will do our best to give you all the updates throughout the transfer window. Right, let's keep moving. So a bit of a comparison of side by side here for Hugo Ekitike and Darwin Nunez. And it's pretty lopsided in Hugo Ekitike's favour, to be honest with you. And Darwin Nunez, well, I know Newcastle fans were jumping up and down on social media trying to encourage the PIF to stop any deal for Darwin Nunez. But they keep forgetting the leverage, Newcastle fans. And the leverage is, the dream for Saudi is eventually to have Mohamed Salah in the Pro League. And guess who he's playing for? And guess where he is? And despite Newcastle fans' protestations and jumping up and down, there's a good relationship, particularly between Michael Edwards and John W. Henry and the Saudi Pro League. So you can jump up and down demanding they don't buy him all you want, but ultimately Al Hilal wants Darwin Nunez, and if Liverpool get the right money and Darwin is open to the move, then Darwin Nunez could be heading across to join Inzaghi at Al Hilal. So that is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm going to want you here tonight, 8:45 for the late night agenda. We'll go through it all in far more detail, and of course, do let me know in the comments how you're feeling. I know a lot of Liverpool fans will feel like this is maybe a bit of a fall down from Isak, and the truth is, I don't know how good Ekitike is. I've been honest about that all summer, but I'm also happy to trust the process, get behind the manager, because all I've ever wanted was a manager to be backed by the owners. The manager, Hughes and Edwards, will have made these decisions. I'm more than happy to get behind whoever they bring in and really excited for the upcoming campaign. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, 8:45, we will be back for the late night agenda. Hope you can join us. Appreciate your support as always. Thank you for helping us go past 330 133,000 subscribers. We're heading towards 1/3 of a million. We wouldn't be able to do it without your unbelievable support. So big up to all of you, and I'll see you for some fun tonight at 8:45. We'll talk then. Much love. Bye-bye.